Why? I mean, he's got to grab something, right? I just don't think that was the right thing to grab. And I heard somebody say that this is probably a good time for Wilder to fall back, go on vacation, just take time to think and process and not do interviews, because he may say things now that later down the road he regrets. You're right. It wasn't the 40-pound suit that he had on coming to the ring. That may have been a reason why his legs weren't there, but it wasn't the reason. I think it was the 273 pounds of flesh that Tyson Fury had on him that wore Deontay down, as well as the punches and everything else he had to deal with. This is the thing: when you train hard and you're in tip-top shape, you push yourself every day to exhaustion, and then you teach yourself to recover. Like if you're in tip-top shape, I'm talking like heavyweight, biggest fight of my life type of shape. I've trained like a Spartan for 10 weeks. You push yourself to a point every day, and then your body learns to recover. So in between rounds, after 30 and 45 seconds, you should be able to get off that stool, no matter how hard the previous round was, and go out there and do what you have to do. The suit may have affected him to a degree, but it should not have affected him or had an outcome on the fight, and I just don't think that that's accurate.
Okay. How about a rematch now? People are talking about a rematch, but when I look at this fight, I saw Fury, as he said, 50% of himself. One thing about Tyson Fury is he'll tell you what he's going to do, how he's going to do it, and then he'll go out and do exactly that. Like at a certain point, you got to take someone at their word. You see if they're credible or not. He said I was at 50% of myself when I fought Deontay the first time. There was good reason for that. I thought he won. Like, I think in now 17, or what is it? No, 12, 19 rounds they've boxed. I think Tyson Fury has won between 14 and 17 of those rounds. First as a boxer, won almost every round, and got up from Deontay's best shot in the 12th round to bring the fight to him. And then as a mauler, won every round and beat him up. Why would it be any different in a third fight?
The only way that Deontay Wilder can put himself in a position to land the big right hand that made him famous, and that's the only way I believe he can beat Tyson Fury. You've said it before. Many people have said it, and I agree. He cannot outbox Tyson Fury. That's no knock on Deontay Wilder. We're just singing the praise of Tyson Fury. He has a track record of not just being a good fighter, not just being a tough guy when he needs to be, but he's also a great boxer. In order for Deontay Wilder to even have a remote chance to put himself in a position to land that shot is to do away with the excuses. I've seen this movie before. I've read this book where punchers, guys who built their reputation on fear and intimidation, all of a sudden that's cracked, and the first thing they start groping at is excuses. If it's not the trainer, it's this. If it's not this, it's that. I've experienced that with the punchers that I was able to face and able to beat. He's got to own this, Max. He's got to shoulder it. He's got to get quiet. He's got to get away in his bag and really be honest about what did I do wrong in training camp? Was I listening? Was I training properly? Was it a piece of me that really started to believe my own hype and my own headline? That's the only way you can reconstruct and put yourself in that position, because if it's everybody else's fault but Deontay Wilder's, he has no chance in the rematch. And even if he does do all the right things, it's going to be really hard to beat Tyson Fury.
Tyson Fury's a lot bigger than him, first of all, and Deontay picked up the sport late. I want to be very clear about this, though, because a couple times I've probably slipped out and said, oh, he can't box. I think Deontay boxes better than giving credit for, actually.
I agree.
It's really not a knock against Deontay. The reason I don't want to see an immediate third fight is, sure, he always has a puncher's chance. Even then, we'll be on pins and needles early in that fight because that's how hard Deontay hits. But I think more of him than just a puncher looking to land a lucky punch. Why would he reduce himself to that, where if he builds himself back up properly, not taking an immediate third fight, he can achieve greatness. Maybe greatness again if you already consider him great. I want to get to Mark Breland. Mark Breland threw in the towel. We discussed on the air, and I've been criticized for this, and by people who don't pay attention, I suppose. I don't think it was a bad stoppage by Mark Breland, but I think there's a legitimate case to be made that Deontay deserved the chance to fight on because JD's, his other trainer, said, I would have let him go. Number one, it's the heavyweight championship of the world. It's not a prelim fight or a guy who's getting 5 or 10 grand and he's taking a beating and he has no chance to win because he's not a puncher. I do believe, even if it sounds barbaric, a champion, 2 undefeated heavyweight champions fight with the title on the line, that guy has the right to take risks with his life that others do not on the altar of greatness. He has a right to check. Now, I wouldn't dispute Breland's stoppage. If someone said push comes to shove, was it a good stoppage? I'd say yes. I come down on the side of Breland. But I think reasonable people can argue about it without the virtue signalers coming out and shouting them all down. So I do agree with Breland, but I could see someone letting that fight go on a little longer too. Your thoughts?
Well, you can always let a fight go on, a little bit longer. And that wasn't the first time Deontay Wilder was in trouble. I think if we're all honest about this, Deontay Wilder was literally on shaky legs for the majority of the fight. And if you know boxing, you get the sense that something was going to happen and it was going to be imminent. If Tyson Fury was able to land up the right kind of shot that he wasn't able to land a couple rounds before the stoppage, maybe round 5 and round 6, he just couldn't get the right shot. You got the sense that he was getting ready to get that shot in the corner, and I think it was a good stoppage. Now, let me say this about Deontay Wilder. He already checked the heart box by getting in the ring because it takes a lot of courage to get into a boxing ring. There were several moments in that corner where Deontay Wilder, he looked visibly beat up. He could have leaned into JD's and said, "Coach, stop the fight." He didn't do that. We know Deontay Wilder has heart. Deontay Wilder going out on his shield, Deontay Wilder getting knocked out cold. We're not going to give Deontay Wilder any more credit for his heart than we would if he got stopped on his feet the way that he did. We're even talking about a third fight right now because the trainer, Mark Breland, did what he was supposed to do. Imagine the optics, Max, if Deontay Wilder gets knocked out cold, face first, or if he's left in a heap in that corner. You really think a third fight would sell? You really think Deontay Wilder would be in a position psychologically and mentally to demand?
Breland made him money, yep, and he's going to get fired for it.
The fact that we're even talking about this is credit to Mark Breland. We're in a sport where right is considered wrong and wrong is considered right. Mark Breland had more credibility in that corner and on that team than anybody else. He had been knocked out before. He's taken losses before. And we keep talking about Deontay Wilder going out on a shield. I guarantee you, if you talk to the former fighters who actually went out on their shields, talk to them 5 years down the road, talk to them 10 years down the road.
Yeah, didn't need those last couple shots, did they?
I guarantee you, Max, they're not talking the same talk.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.